Hey, everybody. Happy Sunday. I hope everybody enjoyed the 4th of July. I decided to make a video on the back of some stuff that's going on Twitter, Telegram, Reddit, and other channels. So I've been in space for 9 years. And during that time period, I've seen every scam you can imagine, every piece of illegal activity and disgusting conduct that you can imagine. I remember when BitConnect came out and talking to certain exchanges about why they listed it and asked them, do you know if this is a scam or not? It looks like it's definitely a scam. The economics don't add up. And they say, yeah, well, it probably is, but we're making good money trading it. I saw every ICO scam you can imagine. I've seen so much bad stuff, okay? And what's really disheartening is when you work 5 years on something and you put your heart and soul into it, you just have a giant event with 10,000 people attend. And then you see floating around Telegram, Twitter, many channels, some video of some scammers in China using my face, our company's logo, the Cardano Foundation's logo, who have absolutely no affiliation with us, none whatsoever. Basically defrauding farmers. They get paid cash, usually how these events work. They don't actually buy a token or do anything. They just take the money and run. I have no recourse for that. I can't sue them. I have no idea where they're at, what's going on. This happens all the time. Same for Vitalik with Ethereum, same for Brad and XRP. They just put a person's name, whatever the cryptocurrency of the week is, and they go and defraud some people. Okay, and over the last few weeks, few days, we have seen tons and tons of tweets personally sent to me, sent to the foundation, in our official Telegram groups of a particular video over and over again saying, why are you defrauding Chinese farmers? Over and over again. And we're like, we don't even know what's going on. We have no idea what this is. They're not officially representing us. We have no involvement or connection to these people. It happens all the time. It happened with BitConnect. It happened with OneCoin. It happens every single day. Anytime something goes up, people magically appear and say, would you like to ride that train and go make 100x, 1,000x, and you're all going to get rich. They take the money, they disappear. This is something that's happened in our space for a long time. Every single top 10, top 15 cryptocurrency has been the victim of this. And put yourself in our shoes. How incredibly disheartening and saddening it is to go do something, say the same thing for 6 years straight, since 2014 when I did my TED Talk, all the way to today. Consistent message, consistent vision about what we are, what we're trying to accomplish. Then someone takes your face, your logos, takes your company's representation, and then goes and says they're an official agent of it or that they're somehow connected to you, and then uses that to defraud people. And think about the mess that that leaves. Because when those people figure out that they've been defrauded, they don't go to the scammers, they come to us and complain to us and say, why did you do this? And then we have to unravel this whole thing. We have a whole group of people who are volunteers, the Cardano ambassadors, who deal with this on a daily basis. People come to them all the time saying, I just lost my ADA from the official wallet on Android. We say, we don't have one on Android. What are you talking about? And they say, yeah, I downloaded this application. I put my private keys in. I've lost all my money. And we have to unwind that, report it to the Google Play Store and go through that. Every single day, it's like cockroaches. You step on one, there's 1,000 more of them, because this is human nature and this is what people do. And, you know, for the most part, I ignore it. And for the most part, I say, well, it is what it is. It's the society that we live in. Scumbags and criminals are going to be here all the time. But every now and then it percolates up. Every now and then you see people who have huge followings, 200,000 followers on Twitter, stoke those fires and make implications or say, ooh, what's going on here? Because they want clicks or it's a fun little game for them. It's not a fun game. When you do these things and you accuse people of things they didn't do, what you're doing is attacking the hundreds of thousands of people in the Cardano ecosystem, saying that they belong to a scam, that they are part of something where they're all just going to be walking off a cliff like lemmings. And you're saying all the work we've done, everything we've accomplished as an ecosystem means nothing. And I really don't appreciate it when marketing directors of companies, for example, push these things out or make implications as well. For example, that the recent appreciation of ADA may be somehow correlated to a very small event in rural China, not the 10,000 person event that we held and the delivery of a roadmap that was delayed for 2 years. Obviously, there's proportionality there, but the implication is, of course, that ADA goes up because we're defrauding people. I see it all the time. It happens all the time. And, you know, it is our space. And no one seems to go to Vitalik and say, hey, well, you're affiliated with these people in China who use your face and name and clips of you speaking in Chinese to justify themselves and sell ether. They don't seem to do this with XRP, but they seem to do it with us. And they seem to have that implication with us because they don't like the project. And because they don't like it, we must be scammers and criminals, you know? And I will never apologize for defending my community. I will never apologize for defending our integrity. Never once. There are a lot of good people here, and there's a lot of good work that's been done. And I'm not sorry for being blunt and critical and holding people accountable for the statements that they make. I never will say sorry for that. You know, we have to stand together. And this is an industry-wide problem. For those who cheer these things today, when it happens to ADA, it's going to happen to your coin too, and has happened to your coin too, if you pay attention. And these scams hurt the poorest people on the planet, people who live in information asymmetries, people who can't do proper due diligence, people who got taken in. And there's very little recourse because you can arrest the people at the presentations, you can arrest the people who take the money. The people behind them are politically connected, usually at the local and governmental level. And as a consequence, they can just run away, keep all the money, pay bribes, and keep doing it. Day after day, month after month, the names change, the tokens change, the scam stays the same. The vast majority of the people who made money off of OneCoin are still floating around. The vast majority of the people who made money at the top for BitConnect are still floating around. And this will continue in our space, just as it did in the 19th century and early 20th century with the early financial markets of America. There were tons of boiler rooms, there were tons of scams, there were tons of assets being sold that didn't exist. This is just what happens when you have a new market in information asymmetries. So before people like to dogpile on or accuse people on Twitter or say, oh, this is a PR nightmare or Charles is just being arrogant, please do understand, you know, our face, our logos, our brand is being used by people to conduct illegal activity, which we have nothing to do with, we don't tolerate. And every single time we have recourse, whether it be we can sue or we can file a police report, we do. But for every one we can catch or we know of, there's 1,000 that go on that we don't know of. And the victims of these crimes almost always come back to us or the projects that they were scammed and affiliated from and complain. And we have to unravel the whole thing. And it takes hundreds of hours, if not thousands of hours of communication and work to fix it all up. And they have a very negative view of the entire cryptocurrency space, all cryptocurrency. They don't just hate wherever they got scammed. They say Bitcoin is a scam, Ether is a scam, that whole crypto thing is a scam. This hurts every single person in our industry when this happens. And the people who purvey it, they need to be in jail. And even when you put them in jail, there's 10 more who show up because that's how scams work. All right? So I hate making videos like this, but I'm just blown away by this recent thing that's been propagating. You know, I thought it would just die down. I said, come on, guys, let's be obvious here. This has nothing to do with us. But it kept spreading and kept being pushed. And larger people on Twitter kept it and syndicated it and said, ooh, what's this all about? Why is Charles in China? Why are these banners here? Why are you holding this official event? And we, of course, said, we're not, because it's true, we're not. Yet it happens. And it's just disgusting. It really is. It deeply bothers me. It has always deeply bothered me. It deeply bothered me when exchanges listed BitConnect. It deeply bothered me when people became ICO advisors in our industry, prominent people, knowing very well that that project that they belonged to had no capability of actually succeeding, but they got 7-figure, 8-figure payouts, and there was no recourse. It deeply bothered me that people sold at the top in 2017, knowing the market was going to collapse, and there was no recourse for any of that. Retail investors got hurt. I just see these things happening again and again and again. I was on Bloomberg when Bitcoin was $600 during the ICO boom, saying it was a ticking time bomb. Please, everyone, be cautious about this stuff. The numbers are unrealistic. And of course they were. And a lot of people got hurt from that. And a lot of people got rich from that and justify themselves being smarter than others. You know, this is just the nature of the industry that we're in and where we're at. And we'll do what we can to manage things. And that's why we have ambassadors. That's why we have decentralized curation. That's why we report all the time fake apps on Apple and Google. And we report all the time criminal conduct. We filed a lot of these things throughout the years and we'll continue to do so. And we do what we can to help people who have been victimized where and when we can, but more often we can't. You know, it's deeply frustrating that I have 120,000 followers on Twitter. People who have 5,000 followers on Twitter have verified accounts, and I don't. And we asked Twitter, can you please tell us what we need to do so I can get a verified account? Not for narcissism and arrogance, but because every single week there's at least 50 reported fake accounts. For me, there's been no exceptions the last 3 years. And those fake accounts say we're giving away ADA or we're doing this, and some people fall for it. And over the years, hundreds of thousands of people have been scammed by those fake accounts. So we tell the Twitter organization, please, Twitter, and we're not alone in this, Vitalik has and many other people have, can you do something about it? Can you prevent these fake accounts from propping up? And you know, when I report that fake account, Twitter asks me to upload a picture of my passport to verify it's my identity, because I don't have a verified account and they refuse to give me one. So what recourse do I have? What can I do? I can't stop accounts created by bots. It's all automated, and they just run scripts and they create them I could spend the next 100 hours a week doing this stuff. And I have no control over when people put my face on a logo or my face on a banner and say they represent me, other than the fact that I'll report it, of course, or send a cease and desist where and when it's possible. You may have noticed there's some geopolitics between China and the United States, and I can't even travel to China. Okay, so what exactly can I do in that type of environment? How exactly can we operate? We have no infrastructure as a company in China. The foundation has very limited infrastructure. It's all volunteer in China. So it's a ripe market for people to be scammed and abused, and for that to be blamed on us. So the conclusion of this video is it's a rough space and lots of stuff happens. I've been in it for 9 years and I've seen unbelievable things. And the longer you're in it, you're going to see unbelievable things. And the scams will continue. The illegal conduct will continue. Use common sense. If anybody comes to you and says you're going to get a 10x or 100x or 1000x off of this, they're lying to you. And if you do get it, you're lucky, and you're lucky off the backs of somebody else, because for you to sell whatever you've gotten that 10 or 100x from, the other person has to buy it. So that person had to put up the cash. And so why is that going to hold its value over time? There are very few things that have the use and utility to match that. And furthermore, we've told people who we are for the last 6 years. And we've been very consistent in our messaging about what the project is about, what we're trying to accomplish. We've entered marketplaces like Ethiopia. By the way, I haven't been able to contact my director of Ethiopian operations, African operations, for 3 days now. I have no idea if he's okay. You know, they shut off the whole internet. There's a lot of bad stuff going on in that country. I hope he's okay. He was in Addis Ababa. So there are very real people and consequences of risk to trying to do the things we're doing. And we've been clear about what we've been trying to accomplish. We just had an event with 70 plus presentations, 10,000 people attending it, where we showed all the things we're working on and why we're a good ecosystem and where we've been investing our time, effort, money, and what we'd like to accomplish as a project. Judge us on that. If you think the strategy's wrong, say so. If you think proof of stake can't work, well, then have an academic debate about that. If you think that we're in the wrong marketplaces and those markets will never appreciate, or we can't get adoption in those markets, okay, that's fair criticism. And there's 1,000 other things you can say that are fair to say we're idealistic dreamers and we don't know what we're doing, or we don't have the experience to do what we're doing. And then anybody who says that, let's have a debate. I'm happy to do that. But please don't go to Telegram, Reddit, and Twitter and other places and take some obvious criminal conduct and then say we're the guys running that. We're behind that. And that's why ADA is going up on CoinMarketCap, because $10,000 or whatever the fuck got scammed from these people changed hands. And these people don't actually buy ADA when they say they're selling it. They just take the money and run and then say they're going to hold it on behalf of somebody else. But no, let's believe that is what's responsible for market appreciation. It's insulting. It's insulting to us. It's insulting to all the people in our ecosystem. And it's predatory on the ecosystem as a whole. And it hurts every single person who holds crypto when we tolerate this conduct. It needs universal condemnation. And we as an industry have to be better. I'm tired of the industry getting away with, well, it's a free thing. It's this, that, and the other. Guys, if you don't want regulation, then ask yourself, what are the things we have to do as an industry to avoid regulation? We have to self-regulate. We have to self-moderate. When we see bad actors, we have to excommunicate those bad actors and get rid of them. Otherwise, they just get worse and worse and worse, take more and more and more, and then eventually governments come in and they say, well, you didn't solve that problem, so we're going to go ahead and solve that problem. It was the collapse of the excess of the 1920s that led to the creation of the Securities Exchange Commission. It was all the trust and bad conduct during the Knickerbocker crisis that led to the creation of the Federal Reserve System and the central bank of last resort. People said, we don't want to be bailed out by JP Morgan, for heaven's sake. And we are doomed to repeat that as an industry if we don't do anything about these events. And the solution isn't just to laugh at or mock or criticize people who happen to be the victim of those events. The solution is, as an industry as a whole, to condemn these things and communicate and coordinate with each other. When we see scams with Ethereum and Ripple or other things, we let them know that people are using your trademark, your brand, your logo. We directly reach out to them sometimes and say, hey, we saw something. You guys might want to look into this. It looks like it's crazy and it's illegal. I'd like the same courtesy on our side instead of just people going to Twitter and mocking us or saying we're behind it. Is that too much to ask? I don't know. But I'm not going to apologize for getting emotional about it. And I'm not going to apologize for being passionate about it, because we represent a lot of people, good people who work hard every single day, and they deserve us to get passionate about it. And they deserve us to work hard to try to stop these things, at least within our own ecosystem. So use common sense and let's work together as an industry. And if we don't, well, it's predictable what's going to happen. You're going to have a SEC specifically for crypto and international agreements specifically for that. And all this stuff is going to get regulated to the point where there are 5 bank coins that are legitimate and everything else is illegal. If that's what you want as an industry, this is the road that will lead us there. It's just how it is. It's what happened with the SEC. There was tremendous financial innovation occurring in the securitization of things. But the scams of securitization led to the Howey test. And then it meant that only 100 plus, 200 plus $1 million people could play in the IPO space. And small businesses couldn't securitize. It took until from 1933 to 2012 with the Jobs Act before we got any liquidity on the small to mid-sized business with Reg D exemptions. Regulation Part A, I believe it is. Is that what you want? Is this where the industry should go? So let's clean up the mess. Let's work together. It's a call to all crypto project founders and all people that are involved in positions of trust and authority of the industry. Just be better. And when you see things, let us know directly. Don't go to Twitter. Don't go to Telegram. Don't go to Reddit. Don't imply these things. You've achieved nothing. You'll get some short-term clicks and tweets and like, oh yeah, good job. And then when it happens to you, you'll be treated exactly the same way. And it'll hurt you just as much as it hurts us. All right. Well, anyway, that's all I have to say on this topic. Be safe, everyone. And, as always, we'll do our best. If you see something, send it to our ambassadors. And I'm trying my best here to just keep as many people as safe as we can. But I'm just one actor in a decentralized ecosystem and one voice in a decentralized ecosystem. And unfortunately, my voice is against the wind of incentives. And there's a lot of people chasing short-term profit in exchange for the long-term viability of our industry. And it makes me sick and sad. It has to stop. As always, take care, everyone.